What's up, everybody? How are you? And welcome to another episode of Rock It Live. And I am here with my very special guest today, Mr. Walt Blau. Walt, hey man, how are you? Welcome.
Man, I am good. Thanks for having me on, dude.
Oh man, I am so excited to have you on finally, because I've done your show now twice, and I finally have you on my show. So this is great. I'm so excited.
Yep, I got you, man. We always have a good time.
We do. We absolutely do. And we've had some pretty epic conversations. So I'm excited to dig into this one.
I think we rattled some feathers with the Dune conversation, though.
I'm sure we did. I imagine we were gonna ruffle some feathers there for sure. Yeah. So before we jump in, I just want to thank everybody right now who is watching the show live. Thank you all so much. And I also want to say a special thank you to those who will be watching the replay of this later on after we're done, and for those that will be listening to the audio version of this podcast later on down the line. As usual, what I always like to say is, hey, wherever you're watching this, please throw me a like, a subscribe, and always very helpful if you share the episode out if you like what you're watching here, because not only does it help me and the show, but it also helps my guests, the people that are on the show, the people that are here spending time and sharing what they're up to, so they can absolutely positively use your support. So please make sure you share these episodes out. Also, as we're going along, because we are live, feel free to comment and ask us questions as we go, and we will get to them as soon as we can. So with that being said, all that awesome stuff, Walt, man, so psyched for you to be here. So I'm gonna frame this up. So Walt and I have known each other for a bunch of years, and probably more years than I think if we count them all. It's definitely up there, man. It's when you start to really think about it. So Walt's got an awesome podcast, and it's called Walt's Kitchen Table, and it's a great podcast, and I love it because not only have I been really fortunate enough to have been a guest on it twice, but what I really love about the podcast, and we'll be talking all about this, Walt, is, I love Walt's style. It's very conversational, and I'll let him tell the story about why it's called The Kitchen Table and all that. But it's just an excellent podcast. So I want to make sure, too, that I also get this up there. So if you're looking to find Walt's podcast, you can head over to waltskitchentable.com. And I know that the podcast can be downloaded pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts too, because I've heard it on, I've listened to it on Apple and Spotify and all that. So, yeah, man. So let's jump into it. So tell us a little bit about, like, before we dive, just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, because you have a pretty interesting background that's outside of podcasting.
Yep. So I was born and raised in upstate New York, a bunch of different jobs here and there. And then moved out to Colorado in 97, landed there, ended up working for Coca-Cola for 16, 17 years, retired from there, came out to Jersey from Colorado. I know I get a lot of heat from that. People are like, what'd you come to Jersey for from Colorado? But Colorado's great. Jersey, awesome opportunity with a mutual friend of ours to operate a video photo production company, going to business for ourselves.
Right.
Had a great time. Awesome. A lot of experience. And then got back in the corporate world. And through my experience at the video company, I started, I did a lot of public speaking, and I wanted to get into, of course, I didn't know they were called podcasts back then, but something similar. In high school, I was going to be an overnight DJ. Had an opportunity there, and a friend kind of talked me out of it. And he says, you're a conversationalist, man. You got to have that stuff going back and forth. You can't just be staring at a mic and a computer screen and no energy coming back. So public speaking, did a bunch of that, enjoyed that a lot, ended up at a story slam. You know what those are?
Yeah, I do. That's awesome. Yeah, and I think you've told me this story before, but this is a great story.
Yeah. So my wife and I have surprise dates, and if you listen to the Moth is a big inspiration for my podcast.
It's a great podcast.
Yeah. Those are go-to for when we're traveling. And if you don't know what they are, people get up there and tell a story for 5 minutes, and it's supposed to be a true story. And there was a story slam in our hometown, and my wife took me there unbeknownst to me. We have surprise dates. We have a good time with that kind of thing. And I talk about it all the time on my show.
Right.
So we end up there and, we story slam, having a good time. And they call my wife's name. And I said, there you go, baby, get after it. And she's like, no, that's your surprise date. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, you're going to tell a story. So I get up there and the lady, it was like one of these hold my beer moments,
Right.
And the lady says, you didn't know you were coming? Nope. You didn't know you were going to tell a story? Nope. She goes, have you have stories? I'm like, lady, do I have stories? And she's like, did you rehearse it? I said, man, I lived them. She's like, podium's all yours. So jumped up there, and out of 13 people, I was the only one that got a standing ovation. And it was a completely unrehearsed story. Had a great time. And I realized that the public speaking was cool because it was on entrepreneurship and business and all that. But when it was storytelling, there's no roof or ceiling. You could go in any direction, anytime. And that's how this podcast was born. I woke up in the middle of the night one night and I said, everybody's in the kitchen, and took a bunch of notes. And 2 weeks later, I bought some stuff off Amazon, plugged it in my computers, invited some friends over, said, let's start spitting in this microphone, see what happens. And here we are just over a year later.
Right. Yeah. And I love that because I love that story because it's so true. I mean, the kitchen table, right? The idea of the kitchen table. I mean, yeah. And it's on your site. So I think it's cool that you put it up there, but it really is true that like when you're hanging out at somebody's house, it's like everybody gravitates to the kitchen. It's a kitchen table, whether or not there's food out or not. Like a lot of times everybody's like, oh, that's where the food is. That's where all the booze is. And it's like, but sometimes it isn't. There's something about being in the kitchen and the kitchen table and the best conversations. And a lot of times, no matter how small the kitchen is, like the more people seem to get jammed in there.
Yeah. Right. And that's, and what I say, the wording that I've put together is, growing up, the best life lessons, stories, tears, laughter, everything has been at the kitchen table. When I come over to your house or you come over to my house, where do you gather? The kitchen. So it was just natural to call it the kitchen table.
Yeah, it makes total sense. And so the guests that you have on, because it's not like you're like how my show is framed a little bit in the sense of like I have people on mostly who are in business, whether they're entrepreneurs or owners or founders or people that are independent businesses. Like, but my overall theme is like I like to feature people that I feel like inspire and motivate me, and people who I just think are crushing it and rocking it out. But like how then they're also helping others, and that's sort of how I frame it. And not that you're not doing the same, but I love that you have such an awesome variety of guests on your show, because it is, and you say it's like you want to have people on that are going to teach you something, stuff that you don't know about.
Right.
And I love that. I love that that sort of mentality behind it. So talk a little bit about that, like the guests that you've been having on, because it's when I listen to it, it's like you have such a wide variety of people on, but it's so cool because of the stories.
Yeah. I mean, and it was when I put my rough business plan together, because that's what I know how to do. Right. So when I started this thing, I said, I put some timelines together, and it originally started with, come on, let's bullshit. Everybody's got some stories. We'll hang out a little bit. You tell a story. Right. Even if you don't have a story, I'll pull one out of you, which is been the case for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But then it's grown into everybody you meet knows something you don't.
Right.
And if you take a minute and truly listen to somebody, they're going to tell you things that you have you're like, what? Get out of here. You know? And that's what I want. I want somebody to come on here. The other day, from your podcast, somebody goes, you didn't know who Tony Bennett was? I'm like, well, at the moment I didn't, but then after a minute I realized who it was. But the thing is, man, I've had people on here and my website says it too, is everybody's extraordinary, dude.
So
we do extraordinary things every day. I don't have rock star, famous people, rich people, all that good stuff. Sure. Will I have them on and I have some scheduled? Absolutely. But I like talking to the people that you see every day, the lady that's the cashier, the guy that pumps your gas. you know, damn well they have cool experiences and stories they've gone through. You just got to take a minute and listen to them.
Right.
You know, and that's why I wanted to create a space for somebody to sit down. You know, people come on and they're like, I don't have anything. I don't know what we're going to talk about. No, just sit down, man. We'll start talking. And after 2 hours, I'm like, dude, I got to shut you up, man. We got to close this down. They're like, well, I didn't think I had all that to talk about. But if you give them the opportunity, and then the gold nuggets come after the microphone is turned off. You know, we've done 30 minutes or an hour and 30 minutes of great conversation. Now they're in the mood to talk. Right. So now I shut it down. I'll spend, there was one lady, I spent 2.5 hours sitting in their living room and they're telling me family stories, and it's just amazing, dude. And I have an unquenchable thirst of conversation and knowledge.
Yeah. And that's what I love about you, because and I'm a little biased because I've had the opportunity now twice to be on your show, and
you're coming back too, dude. So,
and I'll tell you, man, like we talk and it's like, you were just saying, it's like, I feel like we could just leave the recorder going all night and we would probably have enough like of an interview to do like a month's worth of like shows.
Well, how about home field advantage, dude?
Home field advantage, I know. Seriously.
I almost texted you the other day about that, and I'm like, nah, I'll leave that one back.
Yeah.
But yeah, just people, they're like, I want to prepare. You don't have to prepare anything.
No.
Just being you, dude. Tell me what you did today.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, absolutely. I was going to say, I mean, that's how, I feel like the conversation that we've had now a couple times has been very much that, and we just kind of go with it. But you have a good knack for, I think, really listening to like what everybody's saying too. And like, you do this great style, whether you know it or not, but like, as we're talking, like you'll then bring something in that maybe I talked about like 10 minutes ago, but like, and you'll bring it back and like kind of bring us like, I don't know. You just do this great way of how we go around about and we come back to things and we go on something else, but then we come back to it. Like you have a great way of tying it all together, because I do feel, and I feel like this is something I hear from a lot of the interviews that you do where, it feels like sometimes it can be going all over the place, but yet it all does come around like, because of the stories and who they are. And you have a great way of bringing it back in to like a focused point.
And what I tell people too, you said interview, and that's what people think when they think of a podcast. They're coming on to be interviewed.
Right.
And on my show, you're not, man. I'm not interviewing. Right. And I told a guy that I'm really excited to have on. We're recording tomorrow night. And I told him, just imagine I'm sitting at the bar and you come down and you sit next to me and we start talking.
Yep.
That's all it is. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really enjoy that too, and from a listener's point of view, that's what I really enjoy about the show, because I've heard so many great conversations on your show. So I want to ask you. So we're talking about things that like you have learned from different people on a show. What would be some of those things that like right now, if you had to think about it, like what if like something that sticks out like right now, like what would be like a thing that. And I know you've done a lot of these episodes, but
holy man,
you've had so many great stories on this show, but like, what's something right now that sticks out that you're like, oh my God, like that just blew me away. Or I learned that was just so key.
So the one that jumps out real quick with me is I love the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
The space and the universe. I just have a fascination with it.
Right.
So the conversation comes up a lot that how small we really are, right? Compared to the universe, we're really nothing, right? Yeah. So I asked my one guest, I said, when's the last time you realized how little you are? And without even blinking, he goes, watching my child be born. And I was like, okay, I didn't expect that.
That's amazing.
Great reason, but I didn't expect it. But I mean, that's a great question. And I love it because it puts me on the spot, but holy man, dude, nothing super jumps out. Just all these little pieces that I learned, like a guy with a brewery and him explaining like what he had to do to build a brewery, all that information, it's just amazing. And then hearing people's passion about what they do. Had a lady on, the episode's not out yet, but had a lady on and she's an artist. Mm-hmm. And what drives her to do that? You're just like, that's amazing. I didn't think of that, because it's not in my world. Right.
Right. Yeah.
And I have a phrase that I say, that's why we have red cars and blue cars, because everybody likes different shit. Right.
Right.
So, I don't, some of the stuff they bring up, I'm like, I would never do that, but it's really neat that you do it. And I can't, and I have to commend you for your passion for it, because that's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, man. That's a good one. Damn, dude. I'll think of something. I'll bring it back around.
It's all right. Bring it back around, man. Bring it back around. I mean, it's like, because I listen to it. I'm like, oh man, like these, like I like to, for me, like the experience I get when I listen to the podcast is I feel like I'm right there. Like I feel like I'm like I am listening to it, because I'm in the car or whatever on my headphones, or sitting in bed and like listening to it. But like I feel like I'm actually like kind of sitting. I really feel like I'm sitting at the table with you guys, like hearing it on this conversation and all that, because you just once again, like the conversations you get into just have that flow and feel to them, and people are talking and just really being themselves. Like you had, what was the one I recently listened to? I think it was the The Magician.
Oh, Simon. No, Chris or Simon.
I can't remember.
The two magicians.
He was a magician and is a stand-up comedian too.
That's Simon. Yeah.
Okay, that was great. And then then you were in the one where you talked to the mechanic. Mechanic. Recently, was it mechanic, or you were in a garage?
Satya, where he's building electric hot rod.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes, that one. I mean, so like. That's what I'm saying, man. It's like, it's not, it's like 1 week you're talking to, magician and comedian. And then next week, you're talking to someone building a hot rod, and someone doing a brewery. And then you're talking to somebody like me, whatever. And then, and you just have this great, like, it's just the stories, and so, and they're not, and they're everyday people. Like, they're not, like you said, in the sense, like they're rock stars. Like I listen to them, I go, oh my God, these people are rock stars. But they're not like celebrity in that sense of the word, but like, they're rock stars at what they're doing. And I think it's great to like give them a platform, and you just showcase these amazing, like everyday stories is really what it is.
Yeah. Yep. And I think people go about their everyday thing, whatever they do, and it becomes not mundane, but it comes routine for them, and they don't realize how awesome they are when they're doing it.
Yeah. How fascinating what it is that they're doing is to other people that aren't doing it.
Right. Exactly. Like, yeah, I just painted this amazing mural. What? Yeah, it's no big deal. What do you mean that's no big deal? Do you know how cool that is? Yeah, I can't do that.
That's not something I can do. Like, that's amazing.
Dude, I would draw a cat and you'd be wondering what the hell it is. So
that's amazing, man. I love that. So talk to me about Waltisms, because that's something that, I mean, you've got they're on the site. And you've made some merch with them and all that. So what's a Waltism?
Well, I'll tell you what. You bring one up and I'll explain it.
Okay, I'm gonna bring one up. So you've got let's see. Whatever you do, give 100% unless you're giving blood.
That's a good one. Yeah, but that explains itself, right?
Yeah. Okay.
If you're,
I'm on the site because you've got them up here.
On the merch site?
Yeah, or the actual regular website. Let me bring the merch site up.
Yeah, the merch site. The give 100% unless you're giving blood. I mean, if you go to work, why not give 100%? Even if you're not an entrepreneur, even if you don't own your business, if you're the 18th guy in line, why wouldn't you give 100%?
Right.
Because you don't own the business? That doesn't matter. There's a reason you're at that job. Somebody depends on you, or you're passionate about it, or it's giving you a platform to pay for your passion, which you do at night.
Right.
So give 100%, well, unless you're giving blood.
Unless you're giving blood. Okay, so here's one. One more hoodie.
One more. So all of these, just to give you just to explain right up front, all of these, the origin is in the gym. I'm a gym rat, always been a gym rat. I find comfort in the gym. I love it. So one more was obvious, right?
Yeah.
One more rep, one more mile, one more lap, whatever it may be. And then when I got into business, I moved it into, one more email, one more phone call. we're all in sales, dude. Whether you like it or not, you're a salesperson. You got to be, right?
Right.
No matter what you're doing, you're a salesperson. So if you're doing a cold call, one more cold call, one more email, one more letter, one more design, insert whatever there, right? And then I've always thought of it kind of as an aggressive phrase, one more, getting after it, one more, getting after it. And somebody recently brought to my attention, one more hug, one more conversation. And I was like, holy shit. Because my mom passed away last year, and I'd love to have one more phone call.
Right.
Right. So it doesn't have to be like all aggressive all the time. Insert what keeps you going. If you're painting something.
Right. Make it your own.
Make it your own.
Yeah.
Yep. One more.
So I got the SAGLI, hashtag SAGLI.
That's my favorite. The shit ain't gonna lift itself. And again, that's I love that one. Dude. I love that. That again, origin in the gym. You might not be working out with me, but if you're in the gym, you just dropped a killer deadlift set.
Right.
You just left it. I'll walk over. I got my headphones on. I'll be like, dude, shit ain't gonna lift itself. I'm just not gonna give you any room, man. And then back again in the business world, all those emails, that 20% of shit that you don't like to do while you're working.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everybody's got that little piece.
Everybody's got that
they don't want to do. Well, nobody's going to, it's another phrase of saying nobody's going to do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then how about mowing the lawn? How about doing the dishes, cleaning the house? Shit ain't going to lift itself, man. So that keeps me going I used it like 3 times today. In my day job, I was like, I pulled into this parking lot. I'm like, man, shit ain't gonna lift itself. So out I went and I did it,
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I love it, man. I think it's great. I love the Waltisms and all that. And I mean, and it's awesome too. And just to give it a plug too. I mean, so you've got this merch store, right? That people can go on and order. You've got t-shirts, you've got hoodies, and it's all on the website, which I will bring right back up.
No, you didn't bring up the Savage one.
Oh, you're right. I didn't. And I'm looking. Yep, here it is.
I'm wondering who's brave enough to wear that one.
Oh man, I don't know.
That's pretty good though.
That one is pretty good. I mean, that one is that one's good, man.
So
be a savage. Here, go ahead. You say.
Yeah, being a savage while chasing your goals, and just be cool everywhere else.
Yep.
So the thing is, like, we're sitting here, we're being quote unquote cool. We're hanging out.
Right.
But I tell you what, when we hang up here, I'm going to the gym.
The lab.
Be a savage. The lab. I call
it
the lab.
I know. Yeah. I love that you call it the lab. You'll text me like, "Oh, I'm at the lab."
Yep.
I love it.
But like when you're working.
Yeah.
And I use this one with I have a time management hack that I use. And what I do is if I have 5 things that I need to do and I got 2 hours to do them, I chop that up, say 20 minutes. I set 20 minutes on an alarm on my phone.
Right.
Now I'm just a savage getting after that one task for 20 minutes or an hour, whatever it may be. You got to do your own thing. You got to figure that out. Right.
Right.
But if it's for 20 minutes or half an hour, for that half an hour, I'm just a savage getting after it. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm not talking to my wife. I'm not looking at other stuff. I'm just after it. But then it can be cool after. We can hang out.
Right.
So that's what the savage is. When you're chasing your goals, man, just get after it. Don't find reasons not to do it.
Yeah, I love that. It's so true because it's so easy to make tons of excuses as to why you're not doing it. But at the end of the day, they're all just really excuses.
Yep.
It's really just you standing in the way of accomplishing your goals. I mean, there's no one else, just you.
And I have a saying that 80% of the time I love what I do, and this is pretty much my whole life. 80% of the time is amazing. It's amazing. 20%, I'm doing whatever I need to do to get back to the 80%. And that, but the 20% of the time you're in at 20% is probably going to drive whatever you're doing forward more than the 80%.
Right.
Because it's the shit you don't want to do. The 20% is the shit you don't want to do.
It's so true. So true.
We all run into it, man. I deal with it every day too.
I know. So you went out on the road. You like went on tour with the podcast, which I love because you don't see a lot of people. At least that as far as a lot of people I know, they haven't really. I mean, I know they'll bring and they'll do if they're going to interview somebody off site, but they integrate it into a larger show or something. But you literally set out to go on a bit of a tour to go interview people in here. Talk to me about that because I love that. I love that you basically went on tour.
Well, where that originated, see, I love what makes people tick. And listening to conversation, you find out what makes people tick. And going to their home, place of business, where they create, live, and seeing what makes them tick, that was so much fun. Yeah. And I love going on adventures. And my wife went with me a handful of times because I just like being on the road. I like going places and seeing things and creating stories, right? I mean, that's what. Yeah. I have a ton of stories from these road trips. I went all over the East Coast. It was amazing. Got some great conversations out of it and some videos and episodes. But I'm going to do it again next summer. I'll have a baby. I'll have a baby in tow by then. But
yeah, you will. It'll be. You'll have some different adventures.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. But
it's all new adventures, man. But I like that. I love that idea of it's very on the road, Jack Kerouac style. But I love that. You just literally packed the stuff into a backpack and went out and traveled to go meet these people. Where you could have done what we're doing, virtual and all that. But I like that it's part of it's actually part of the process and part of the story itself.
Yeah. Yep. And then again, when this is great conversation, and I think you and I feed off each other's energy because of our history, right?
Yeah.
But if I had somebody on here I didn't know, had no clue, I just feel that it would be a little bit different conversation. That there's not that same energy there. And of course, with everything going on in the world, I'll probably have to move a little bit to some of these, and which is fine. But I'm going to do my best to stick to the core values of the show of actually going places or having people over or meeting them somewhere. Right.
Yeah.
I have a bunch. I'm going on the road in the next couple of weeks because I do have a pregnant wife at home. She's due pretty much any time. And I want to have some episodes in the bank.
Yeah.
So now I can be home taking care of my family and still have consistent content.
Yeah. Still telling stories.
Yep. And that's, I do keep my episodes to a phrase that I like to use is evergreen conversation.
Yeah, I think that's a great phrase to use. And you know what else when I listen to the stories and I think about it and think how you're doing it, it's very Americana, and it's that slice of life, that you're getting from everybody. And these are people that are doing their thing, making a living, living their life on their own terms, doing what they want and sharing their stories from all walks. I mean, I remember listening to an earlier episode that you had done with the kidney transplant.
Oh my God.
I mean,
what an amazing story, dude.
Right. It's an amazing story when you think about once again, extraordinary stories, extraordinary people, that's the kind of thing that, you hear that story and you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazingly fascinating. It's interesting, but it's so heartfelt and so real. And you just begin to, you said it before, people are just capable of so many amazing things. And that's one of them. But that's why I love the show because of this is what you feature on there.
Yeah. And two, it's so cool to see people come over, and we'll call them everyday people.
Yeah.
They come over, they see my setup and they're like, whoa, this is amazing. I'm on a real show, and they feel like a rock star, dude.
Yeah.
It's just so fun to see that and to be able to provide that.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful, and I think you do a really great job on it. And I'm looking. I listen, man. I look forward to your episodes. I look forward to seeing
Thanks, man.
who you got coming on and all that. And it's tough to listen to myself because when I try to listen to my episodes back, I'm like, oh my god, this guy doesn't shut up. What is
Dude, how do you think I feel?
Yeah, seriously, this guy doesn't shut up. Like, what the hell?
I'm sitting there going, that's me talking.
I know it's hilarious. I mean, we even doing this when I have to listen to things back and I edit them and all that. I'm like, oh my god, like, but
that's it. That's the other thing I want to touch on is I don't edit those.
You don't. I know, and I was gonna actually ask you that because I know for a fact that you don't edit them. Like they're literally like, I love what we got, and like you'll hear, like even the episode, I was like, oh, we rolled or we got like,
yeah.
You leave all that in, but I love that because to me it's hilarious.
Yeah, our episode because I do back in the day when I first started them, I'm like, I'm not listening to these. I'm just going to put them out. But then I listened to them and I learned from it, to try to increase my ability of interviews and that type of thing and pacing and,
sure.
Right. But when I was listening to yours, cause that's the latest one out, it got all quiet and you're like, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm running in this. Hold on a second. Something's wrong here. And I was just like, leave that shit in. Why not, dude? It's real life, right? I mean, it's not polished.
No, it's fine. I mean, there's been times I've done this show and things have crapped out in the middle of the show, tech-wise and all that. And like, for the audio version, I'll clean it up real quick just because of that. But for the videos, I kind of just leave it on. It's like, yeah, there's technical difficulties. This stuff happens.
Well, eventually, I think I'm going to get into some video stuff. When I do these types of interviews, I got some pretty cool things coming up. One, I'll give a little teaser.
Nice.
A WWF star from back in the day.
Oh, nice.
That's coming up soon. I'm going to record that later this month, and I'm super excited about it.
That's awesome.
And then some authors, some guys, because the other thing is too, to get guests on, I just I shoot for the moon, dude. I reach out to some crazy people and I get it back. Like,
yeah,
get out of here. I'm like, okay, no problem. I don't get offended by it. Okay, next.
Yeah.
But then the other thing, I end up with some really great people.
Yeah, like I know that you're a big sci-fi and like horror and all that. And you reached out with the zombie book you were telling me, Owl Story.
Yeah, yep. Oh God, I love zombie books, man. Or post-apocalyptic, anything post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
I tell you though, I'm going to take a second there and shout out. I am looking for, if you don't mind, dude, I'm looking for a specific person. And Jeff, wait a minute, we got to be interrupted here. Greenland.
Boom.
Look at that. He's like, don't tell anybody I had me on. Oh, dude, you got to listen to that. I got an episode, Jeff, man, you're listening. I haven't posted your Thailand episode yet, so we'll just leave it at that. So we'll come back around. But I am looking for a semi-professional or professional poker player.
Okay.
So if anybody knows anybody in that realm, I'd love to be in New Jersey and see them in person. But if it has to be a thing like this, that's cool too. Whatever they're comfortable with. But yeah, I'm having a hard time tracking some of these people down. I love playing poker.
Yeah.
So Jeff, sorry, man. Almost as bad. Almost, dude. Almost. But for some reason, I'm just having a hard time. I know poker players they're not lazy by any means, professional ones, but they're a lot hard. They're hard to get hold of. So if anybody knows anybody, I'd love to have a conversation.
So let's talk about, so what is it that you like about poker? Because I know you are a poker player and I know you enjoy it, but what is it about poker that you really like?
One thing is it levels the physical playing ground.
Mm-hmm.
So your physical abilities have nothing to do. Well, you got to be able to sit there for 18 hours,
right?
But
you have to have some sort of stamina.
Yeah, but your physical abilities, as in playing soccer or football or basketball, that doesn't matter. It's all up in your dome, dude. So I love the challenge of that. I like to be able to read people, and the other thing too is, it's taken me to some amazing places. My wife and I have this thing anytime we travel. I find the local poker room and hang out for a night for a couple hours. and I've met some awesome people, and I've met some crazy people. I've seen some crazy things. I do talk about it on the show, but I love the mental challenge, and I just truly enjoy the game, the history of it, the aspect of sitting there and battling it out mentally, kind of like a good board game,
right?
You know, that you're playing against somebody. You know, you really gotta have your A game on mentally and know the cards. And I think you need to have an interest or a passion for it, or both, to take it to a certain level. But I just love the game, dude.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think it's, yeah, I mean, I'm not much of a poker player myself. I'm a little more like, I like blackjack.
We should play then, dude.
But yeah, exactly. So I play for pennies.
Oh, no. But the other, you know, the thing is,
you played with my brother, though. I know you and my brother have played at least a couple of times.
Yep. The other thing too with cards. Oh shit, where was I going with that? Yeah, I lost it.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Dune real quick. So let's continue our conversation. So we're excited. I mean, I'm excited for the new Dune.
I so want to see it. Yeah,
right? I mean, I think we're in agreement on that. I know other people that are not, but I am.
I just hope the dialogue is nowhere near what the old one is.
Yeah, because I'm not a fan of, this is another thing we agree on. I'm not a fan of neither is the director. David Lynch doesn't like that Dune. He doesn't like Dune.
No.
He didn't even want his name on it. He wanted it to be an Alan Smithy film. Like,
see, bringing it back around.
Yeah.
That's something I didn't know.
Alan
Smithy. I didn't have dude, I went and Googled that shit when I was done talking to you. I was like, I need to see who else is doing that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not many directors that have done it, but I mean it, but it is that thing, you know, but I mean, he didn't even like it. So it's like, I'll try every now and then I'll go back and I'll say, let me just watch it again. Because I have the same thing with a couple other films. Like, was it really as bad as I thought it was? Like, maybe I need to watch it. Maybe I'll just reframe it.
It doesn't get any better,
dude. It doesn't get any better. Like, there's moments I'll be like, you know what? That part was cool. But like, it's not enough for me to say, like, I really enjoyed that cinematic version of Dune. Like, it just isn't very good. Sorry to all the David Lynch Dune fans out there.
No. The growing up, I think it was, if I remember right, like during holidays, it would come on the same. They'd have a day of those kind of movies, and it wasn't it Flash Gordon was on at the same, like before or after. Like they'd have those type of movies on all day.
Yeah, it would be like they do like a whole marathon of stuff. I mean, it was a little different from Monster Week. Monster Week was a completely different story.
Yeah.
That was like Godzilla, then you had Apes Week and all that. But like this was like the sci-fi kind of thing. They would do Flash Gordon. They would do, Dune. You'd have some back-to-back stuff.
Yep, and Dune, I would just, same with you, man. I'm like, okay, last year I couldn't get through it. I just want to see the monsters, man. I just want to see them. And I just try to get through it, and I just can't. I can't.
It's tough, man. I mean, I'm excited for the new Dune, and it's what do you think about this being? So this has been a debate too. Is like, you know, anything that's Warner's is being released simultaneously on HBO Max and in the theater. You know,
like Wonder, was it the new Wonder Woman?
Yeah, Wonder Woman, and then they just did it with the new Denzel Washington film, which we watched with this Jared Leto. It's a murder mystery thing.
Oh, okay.
The little things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's out now. And that was another thing where they released it in the theater and HBO Max.
You know, my attitude with being in the theaters and on whatever streaming platform.
Right.
Okay, so we'll just say whatever streaming platform. Whatever. So if you take, I'm a moviegoer. I'm a huge movie fan. I love going to the movies.
Me too.
But accessibility, right? So if you're looking at a bottom line, if you take Dune comes out, and I'm going to throw out numbers and you can crucify me, whatever you want. But with the theaters, if you can access 500,000 people in a weekend at a theater, at the theaters,
right,
for $20 a piece or $15 a piece or whatever, or access 3.5 million homes for $15 a piece over the weekend, kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean,
business.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get people to sign up for the app for like the month to watch the film that they want to see, and they could watch as many times in a month as they want before they're like, yeah, you know what, maybe it'll stay a subscriber, maybe they won't, but then they'll sign up again for the next thing that comes out. Like
exactly, or they forget they signed up, and the guy in the platform just takes their $15 every month, and
like a gym membership.
Exactly.
You know,
I like those people. Hey, I like those people, by the way, the gym membership, because it keeps the gym open for me, and they don't show up and it's empty. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, you have the whole gym to yourself.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
But yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's the thing with, I mean, it all boils down to money. Everything boils down to money, right? I mean, that's where I think the streaming platform, I see Jeff said the same thing I did. You're just a little slow on the keyboard there, Jeff.
There's a delay. Yeah, might be a delay.
But why wouldn't you access that many households? And then too, nowadays people have, of course it's not the same as a theater, but the way they have their house set up, I mean, surround sound and thousands of dollars built into their home theater, you know. I had a guy on the show, he's like, we don't have a TV. And I go, where do you point the furniture? I mean, but hey, it's going back
to cards.
No.
To Blade Runner.
Going back when you're listening to it.
Right.
So how many times do you point at the whatever device you're listening to on or up in the air and go, it's that guy? Because, you know, how many times we're listening, I'm like, oh, man, who's that guy? And fuck, I don't know. Who's that guy? Who's that guy? Oh, I don't know. It's, you know, he was in this old movie and this and that. And, yeah, and I love it. People text me and email me. I had a guy send me a text telling me the third guy in the scene at Goodfellas. Because we were talking about Goodfellas were they're stabbing the guy in the trunk.
Yeah.
And we couldn't figure out who the third guy was. And like 3 weeks later, I get a text message from an unknown number, and I'm like, "What the hell is this?
What is this?"
And he's describing. You know, I find out later it's a he. He's describing like that scene, and I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about, dude." He's like, "You were talking in this show, in this episode, you were talking about this, and this is the third guy." I'm like, "Thanks, bro. Appreciate it."
Yeah, it happens all the time when because I do my other podcast, or it's been a little bit Galaxy of Geeks, and my co-host and I are always we're always talking about stuff, but then we always forget everybody's names. We forget characters' names. We get characters' names wrong, and people just blow us up. Like, and it's just like,
yeah, that's good stuff though.
And I always say it. I go, I know we're gonna get blown up for this because you know, like I can't remember like what you know, this character's name that was on screen for 10 seconds was and all that stuff. So
now part of that, I think when you're on, you're the only one. Yeah. You're the only one that we look stuff up on because we get so deep into movies and stuff. We got to keep the conversation going, right?
Yeah, we do all the time.
Yeah. But where I came up with, no, we're not looking anything up. And where that originated from was because it was rolling around in my head. Again, at the time, I didn't know what a podcast was and I didn't know the platform. But I'm like, man, I want to make something. I want to have, you know, I want to meet people, you know, and I was just rolling that stuff around. And my wife and I were on our honeymoon. And we took the Queen Mary 2 from England to New York. And it took a week. Well, there's no internet. Well, you can get internet and it's like $60 a minute or something.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And we've met so many cool people because my wife, if you don't know, she'll talk to anybody too, just like me. Yeah. She's just we would strike up conversations with people in the bar and at dinner and just walking through the ship and everything. And you couldn't look nothing up. So you're like, you know, that guy that was in, going back to I use this example, the guy was in the movie. Yeah. But he was in the other movie. What fucking other movie? And it's like an hour conversation. All of a sudden you go, Tom Cruise. And you're like, yeah. But that's where the idea of, no, man, I'm not going to look nothing up. Because if you look something up, you go, yeah, it's Tom Cruise. Okay, now what are we talking about? Yeah. No, but then the people listening are like, dude, it's Tom Cruise. It's Tom Cruise. They're yelling at the thing. It's Tom Cruise. And you're like,
Yeah, it happens all the time because it is that. It's like, because I can't remember anything, and then I'm sitting on my phone like IMDb and trying to get it's just like, I'll forget it.
Well, too, we get into, when you and I talk, we get into some skewed movies. So
we get into some stuff. Yeah, we get into some older stuff. I just, right before this too, I had a great conversation with somebody, and we were talking about Hook. And how Hook is like a completely underrated film. And I love it. I'm like, because I think Hook is great, and it is such an underrated movie in my opinion.
Is that the one with Robin Williams? You're talking about that old?
Yeah, Robin Williams. That's amazing, dude. Yeah, and it's like Peter Pan grown up, and he forgets he's Peter Pan. Like, what a great premise.
Mm-hmm.
It's an awesome movie. So yeah, for anybody watching this, if you haven't watched Hook in a while or never watched Hook, I highly recommend you.
It definitely holds up. It's one of those movies that holds up for sure. Yeah.
No, it absolutely does.
We always get talking about movies.
It always comes back around to that, man. Always.
I love it too.
It always comes back around to that. But
no, speaking of movies, sci-fi too. God. Spectrum. It's a Netflix original, and I think it was. You might want to look this one up.
Okay,
I don't blow this up. It's a Netflix original. Spectrum, maybe, or Spectral. I think it was like 2000. Because I looked. I think it was 2017. Netflix original.
No.
And
Spectrum movie.
Amazing, dude. At the end, I was like. And it's sci-fi too, so you got to get. And the reason I brought it up too, like Galaxy of the Geeks and post-apocalyptic stuff. If you like that kind of thing, I think you'll enjoy it.
No, it's not Love the Spectrum, is it?
No, just it's one word. But
Spectral. That's it,
dude.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Check it out.
We just watched Space Sweepers. Which is a Netflix, and it's a South Korean sci-fi movie. It is awesome. Like, good. It is awesome. Like,
subtitles?
No, it's dubbed, and they did a really good job on the dubbing.
No. Okay,
so it's very good. There are some subtitles because there's a lot of mix. Like, you've even got like Germans in there and French, but it's really cool. The effects will blow you away. It's a cool story. And they did it really well. Like the dub was actually really well done.
I tried watching a Netflix original the other day, dubbed, and
they did a really good job on.
Okay, yeah, it reminds me of the old karate movies, Yeah,
I've watched some that have been horrific. This was not that. Like, they actually spent time and they got really good actors to do the dubs. So it's not what you think. I highly recommend it. Space Sweepers. It's a lot of fun to watch. You'll dig it.
Okay, and one thing I did notice with Netflix is their Netflix original. A lot of that stuff is dubbed or subtitles, and I just have been having a hard time with them. But the production quality looks amazing. I've been having a hard time. That's just me personally where I'm at right now. I just didn't want to read anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think you just got to be in the right mood. I mean, with me, like, after a while, like, you do subtitles and it's like just begins to, like, you get used to it. After like 10 minutes, it's like fine for me.
Okay.
I actually sometimes I would rather watch subtitled than like terrible dub.
100%.
Because the terrible dub to me sucks you right out of the film, horribly.
Yep, and you just wonder. It's like when you're watching a YouTube video on Bluetooth, and it's just What Jeff say? Parasite?
Oh no, I have not watched Parasite yet.
Yeah, me neither.
And I know it won all the awards and all that.
That's like a Korean film, right?
Yeah, it's another Korean film, and the director. Once again, I'm blanking out on his name, but he's awesome. He's won a lot of awards already, and he's done some amazing movies.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Subtitled too, right? I think.
Yeah, that one's subtitled, I believe. I'm sure there's a dubbed version of it out there, but I think it's on Hulu or not. Oh, it's on one of them. But yeah, you can watch
Netflix.
He says yes.
I don't know what he's saying yes to. Jeff, you say yes to a lot of things, so we'll just leave it.
Well, So once again, man, we could go for like I feel like you and I could go for 2 hours.
Yeah, talking about anything, right?
We're talking
I
about
love
anything.
it.
Yeah.
I love
Before
it. Hey,
we'll start talking about records and music and and more movie stuff and sci-fi and zombies. And I watched Dawn of the Dead just recently again, like the remake.
That holds up too.
Like the remake.
Yeah.
Like
the remake. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, listen, the original is, to me, it's on a pedestal. Like, but I actually felt like they did a pretty good job on the remake, and that was actually funny enough that Zack Snyder's first movie. Zack Snyder, who went on to do like all the DC stuff.
Yep.
Never did anything else like Dawn of the Dead afterwards, but like for a first like feature film, like it was pretty good. Like it holds up.
That's awesome. I love seeing older movies, and you're like, is that how I think it is?
Yeah.
And then what's the X-ray on Amazon? You can stop it, and it
it gives you like all
and you can click it. That's really fun to watch. My wife and I get into that. But on just to want to say on my show, what I've been doing recently, I've been having a lot of fun with. I put a full-length episode out every 2 weeks, and then between weeks, I call it off the cuff.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that actually.
Yeah, that's I don't even know where that came from, and my intro of that is it's me, this mic, you listening, no notes, and whatever's on my mind. And for about 10 minutes, I just spew some stuff and I just rattle. And it's been a lot of fun, been getting a lot of great feedback from it. So, love for you guys to check that out. But I'll continue to do those. And then also do spotlight episodes where it's like a 5-minute cut from an older episode. And the reason I did that,
I like that. I like that you do that.
Yeah. And the reason I did that was I didn't put any of my episodes out until I had 25 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that was kind of in my business plan. I don't know why, but I'm a serial listener. So as soon as I find something, you better have about 20 episodes, man, because I'm digging into it. So then what I did was put it on what the hell was it? SoundCloud.
Oh yeah, yes, that's right. SoundCloud.
And I made it really hard to find on purpose. So I put out 25 episodes. Once I got 25, 26, I got Libsyn, put it out on Spotify and all that. So there's a lot of episodes that people might not know they're there. They'll catch the few that are out. So I like to go back to the older ones and do a little spotlight because there's a lot of cool stories and information that I found out. So.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I was going to ask you about that, and I like that you do that because I'm going to talk to you about that off air because I want to pick your brain about that. But I think it's cool that you do those.
Yeah, because the thing is, they're 90 minutes, 2 hours, and you're like, But a spotlight for 5 minutes, you're like, oh, no shit. Yeah, I'll go back and listen to that one.
Yep.
And then with the merch store. I don't know how much time we got left, but
man. Yeah, talk about the merch store.
Okay. The merch store, there's a lot of reasons I set that up. One, it's kind of cool rocking your own stuff.
Yeah, man, right? Of course. It's always cool. Rock your swag.
And then the Waltisms, I live by those things every day. So, trying to put a culture around that. And then
great.
Proceeds go to help a buddy of mine. It's called Forever Healing Invisible Wounds. And these guys do a crazy cool job with men, women, and families of the armed forces. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to be, you could be frontline people. You could be anybody suffering from PTSD, any of those types of afflictions. Call these guys up, man. And they're rock stars, man. And nice. They don't talk about it. It's word of mouth only. They don't do much of, they do some fundraisers and that kind of thing, to keep the organization going. But if you would love for you to check those guys out again, they're amazing group.
Awesome. No, it's great, man. And you can get that information on your website.
Yeah. And then in the merch store above is the link. And again, proceeds from the merch sales will go help these guys. So love for you to check it out.
That's excellent. Yeah. I'm going to put that site up again really quick while we are still going here. So if anybody missed it, you can check it out right here. There you go.
And his story, Geo is his name. I think it's number 45. But I stole this line from Joe Rogan, and Gio lets me. He says it's cool. I use it. That I like a guy that fucks his life up and gets it back together story. And Gio did exactly that. And what he's doing to give back, it's incredible. I have no words. I can't explain it. You just got to check it out.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that episode was awesome.
Yeah, he's
great, man. He's a character. I love it. It. It's so awesome. Well, yeah. I mean, here we are. We're just about wrapped up, man. This was awesome.
We've been an hour. That's it.
Yeah.
Come on, man. All right. I'm just joking.
Yeah, I know, right? You and I could just keep going and going.
Yep.
But yeah, so man, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. Really, this was awesome. It was a honor to have you on my show.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, man.
I appreciate you having me on Walt's Kitchen Table a couple times already. So we've had a lot of fun doing those episodes. And all I can say is for everybody out there that's watching, make sure you go to waltskitchentable.com, and that's where you can find out all about Walt. You can hit the merch store up. He's got great merch, really cool stuff. And of course, as he was mentioning, the proceeds go to a great cause. You can find the podcast pretty much anywhere that you listen to podcasts. So yeah, definitely check it out. And you can start with my episode, because it's a good starting place.
Yeah, perfect. Well, it is the latest. Well, I did put a highlight or a spotlight out, but you are the latest full-length episode.
That's right. I am. I'm the latest full-length episode.
There you go, man. And the punk stuff you talk about, dude, that was so cool. I enjoy that a lot, man. Look at Jeff. Yeah, Jeff,
yeah, this guy.
I got choice words for you, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, is what I talk about all the time. So yeah, I encourage everybody to check out the podcast. There's amazing stories on there. So many good ones. And it really is very, as Walt said, it's evergreen. And, and I like the thing about it too. It's just a very strong slice of Americana, everyday people being absolutely extraordinary. So
it's a good way to put. I never had it described that way, dude. That's pretty cool. Thanks.
You can have that. You can keep that. That's yours. That's my gift. That's my gift. My gift upon you. Well, I want to thank everybody once again for watching live with us today.
Except for Jeff.
Except for Jeff. We're not thanking him for watching us live today.
No.
Yeah, so thanks everybody for watching live today. Thanks everybody for contributing. And thank you to everybody who is watching the replay of this right now. I want to thank all of you for your support and for everybody that will listen to the audio version of this later on as well. As usual, I always like to encourage everybody to like, share, and subscribe to wherever you're watching this because once again, as I said at the top, when you share these episodes, it not only helps me and the show, but it also, more importantly, helps the guests that I have on to reach a wider audience. So I'm very, very appreciative of that. And as usual, we do this every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please be sure to keep checking back. You can always watch the show here on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook on Tuesdays. And every now and then we do a special episode during the week too. So, and I always like to announce that when it happens. Any final words, my friend, before we peace out for the day?
Nope. Just get after it. Give 100% unless you're giving blood.
There you go. There you go. Said by the man himself. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching Rocket Live. And remember, always be authentic, be yourself, and always remember to rock it. Yeah.